You've got game phase, and this is Kerbal Space Program Single Staged Orbit. Now, in the last episode of Single Stage, the Kerbals and I were finally able to get their spacecraft to land. There were some balance issues flying with empty tanks, so once the craft came back from orbit, there was no way it could land. In this episode, we are going to try to combine the results of episode 3 and episode 4 into a full orbit, as well as landing back on and at the Kerbal Space Station. Though there are a couple of things that need to change beforehand, one of them being RCS and RCS monopropellant, and the other being a small adjustment to the fuel distribution system that will definitely cause us some issues as we get further and further into, let's say, into these tanks, as this one is basically unusable at this point. So I'll get to fixing those, and then we will test it out. Okay, so I've fixed the fuel distribution issue. The next thing was I added a monopropellant tank, and I have the RCS thrusters here. So we're going to see how that does. And this time we are going to attempt the full trip to orbit and back to the space station. I will turn on the SAS, crank up the fuel, and off we go. Takes off nice again. You know, I did notice there was a slight tendency for it to turn to one side as I was landing. I wasn't sure what to attribute that to the last time, but now I'm pretty sure it was actually that the misalignment or the different weight in the left and right side of the vehicle. I still have my landing gear deployed. Once I passed 4,000 feet, I'm going to use some acceleration, and maybe not just in-game, but in-video acceleration, in editing, so that this won't be too painful to watch. Okay, we should be switching over to the oxygen oxidizer tanks from the air intakes pretty soon. So these engines will switch over right away. I don't want to be going at time acceleration then, because of course, I don't know, weird things can happen with physics. So I'm going to leave that the way it is, and I'm going to turn on the RCS so that I maintain some control if things go awry. Quickly go to the map and see what's going on here. 23,000, 24,000, and off we go. We're still, it's at, oh, we're switching over. A little bit of a shake. That's fine. I'm gonna increase the, so we're getting a definite 45 here. 29, 30. I'm hoping we're gonna have enough fuel to make it here. Gaining some speed here. We're going to hit 1,000 meters per second right away. 49.50. Fuel's burning pretty low, though I'm sure we've got a minute of it. I don't like the way, oh, this is pushing out pretty good now actually. Okay, I'm getting ready to cut the engines at 80, and I have cut the engines. I'm going to get the maneuver in as soon as possible, so if there's any adjustments to be made, I can make them. 97 and 57, no. 88, 66, 81 and 73, I'm good with that. Are we coming over the space station? Yes, we're coming directly over the space station. And I've got a minute and 24 seconds to get ready for it. So here we are. Almost in our first orbit. And there we go. I am now in space and ready for my burn in about 20 seconds or so. I'm gonna burn over the zero, zero in the node. So basically 22 seconds on each side. And the burn is on. Maintaining that accuracy is important. And 20 more seconds. I've got 20 seconds of fuel, I think. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. I'm a little under. I am going to no, I'm a lot over, but that's better than being dead. So the only thing I see now is we don't have a lot of fuel. So, let's see what we got here. I've got an orbit. Which I am going to pass through quickly. Right now, like basically there's the Space Center. So I'm going to accelerate Okay, so we're back. That took like a day and 4 hours, almost, maybe a day and a couple hours. Kerbal time, of course, not real time. So I've set a navigation node here. Excuse me. So when I get to that point, I am going to navigate. So I'm just hoping. Why do I have no control? Why is my vessel completely dead in space? Okay, slowing back to normal time. Control from here. There we go. Wow, that was kind of scary. That would mean we're not going home at all. So basically, this is going to slow us down enough so that we drop back into the atmosphere. Now, what I want to quickly check is there's no fuel left there. There's no fuel left there, and there's fuel left in the bottom. So it almost simulates what I did in the return. Now, I do have to remember that this vessel is pointing the wrong way, and stop letting it frustrate me that I can't pass through. I can't turn it the right way up. But that will correct itself when I go to fly it, I hope. So in 17 minutes, I've got another burn. At 17 minutes, it's going to go by pretty quick. I'm just going to speed up time till I get in the rough proximity of where I need to be. There's a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to realign myself. Okay, so when this hits, basically my orbit's going to drop down so that it's going through the planet, and that should bring me in. I'm going to have to adjust this node. Things have changed. What's going on? Okay. So funny stuff in my orbit there. I don't know what that was, but the burn is now not for another 3 minutes. But basically what the burn's going to do is just slow me down so that I drop through the atmosphere, and once I hit the atmosphere, I am going to have to land this vessel on the first try. So if I don't land it on the runway, don't shoot me. They let me fly it. So hopefully on the runway. And we bring this home. There's probably not going to be enough fuel to turn around or do any emergency maneuvers. So this is going to be a basic glide in until we've made it. Until we hit the runway or the ground. No matter when that will be. So I'm going to fire up some engines here. And that's going to drop this down. Dropping it down. So that looks pretty good. Now, I love how that changed completely, but I guess it would. Get rid of that node, and now I'm going to turn this baby around before we go back, and we're going to watch her drop back into the atmosphere. $31,000 feet. I should start getting air intake pretty soon. I could probably fire up the engines now without worrying about using up oxidizer or large quantities of fuel for that matter. Down to 1.5 kilometers per second almost. Coming up to 20,000 feet. We're at like aircraft level here. 20,000 meters, sorry. Not at aircraft level. Going to shut off RCS, I think. No need for that now. We're simply on stabilization, and we are down to 1 kilometer per second. Map still shows me coming into the mountains, but I am going to have to apply a little power. not lined up very well. It's a little better. Okay, I'm at 500 meters. My velocity is 90 meters per second, and the land of the runway is in sight. I'm starting to see the ground clearer. 200, pulling up, pulling up. No, not pulling up, not pulling up. And pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. And cutting the engines and braking. And Bill and Jebediah live to fly again. But as we have completed our mission, I think this is the last episode. I'm Gameface. That was Kerbal Space Program, single stage to orbit. If you liked it, click the button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.